Today we're announcing an exciting public awareness campaign related to the child abuse issue we have in the state. Many of you participated over the last couple weeks where we unveiled our new hotline and command center over at DCF, where we receive calls regarding child abuse and issues related to child safety across the state. And many of you commented during those reviews of that call center about, it's hard to comprehend that we would have such a large center of 400 people and such a sophisticated operation that has to receive over 300,000 abuse calls across the state. And so it is a sad state of affairs that we have to do that, but unfortunately we do in order to keep our children safe. But even though we receive over 300,000 calls every year to our hotline, there are thousands of cases of child abuse and neglect that go unreported every single day in this state. And so with the legislation that passed last year, which was related to the Protection of Vulnerable Persons Act, House Bill 1355, we now in the state not only have a moral obligation to report child abuse, but we also have a legal obligation to report child abuse. And with that legislation, now all non-caregivers across this state have an obligation to report abuse. And so we are now receiving those calls at our hotline. This new law went into effect on October 1st of last year. And to date, our call volume's up about 16%. We receive about 500 calls a month related to people hearing about or witnessing abuse and calling that abuse in. But still, what we need to do a better job of is getting the word out that this capability exists and this is where people go to report this abuse. And that's why we're here today. And so we have launched a new awareness and aggressive campaign to, in essence, get the word out. And the way we have done that is DCF has partnered with Lawrence Kids to, in essence, provide this service across the state. And we just started the project a few months ago, and we're really excited about the materials and the plans that we have to get across the state and get the word out on this horrific situation. So without further ado, let me introduce the leader of this campaign, my friend and our great strong advocate for the children across the state, Marla. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. We're very, very, very excited to have all of you here today. We are proud to launch the Don't Miss the Signs campaign, which is a multimedia campaign that spans several different mediums throughout the state of Florida. We will have PSAs that we're going to show for you in a moment, billboards throughout the state which have been placed, and we have some up already, but we'll be rolling out in the next couple of months. There's print pieces that you can see on those back tables. And what was really important to us and the department was that they were easy to understand and that they were educational. So what you'll notice is there's children on the posters and so on the print materials. And it goes along with not only that you have to report, but some signs and symptoms of what you need to look out for. And they match the age. So it may be a baby in this one, maybe you're looking for bruising or different things, but in a school-age child, what are you looking for? So those go along with those. We're very excited about those. And then we have 3 different PSAs, which we'll play for you here now.
Every year in Florida, tens of thousands of children are abused or neglected. Many more continue to suffer because their abuse is never reported. In every case, there are signs. They may not be obvious. Reporting child abuse can save a life. And under Florida law, it's everyone's responsibility. Don't miss the signs. Report child abuse. Call 1-800-962-2873.
If I suspect a child being harmed,
I commit. I'll do something. I'll report it.
even if I don't have all the details.
Even if I'm not sure.
I take steps to protect the child. For me, it's just a call.
Just a call.
Just a call.
For a child,
It's everything.
I commit my eyes.
My voice.
To protect our children.
Don't miss the signs. Report child abuse. Call 1-800-962-2873. Every year, tens of thousands thousands of children in Florida are abused or neglected. Many will be victims of sexual abuse, usually by someone they know and trust. Sometimes adults can miss the signs, and children don't always know how to ask for help. If you suspect a child is being abused, report it today. Don't miss the signs. Report child abuse. Call 1-800-962-2873.
So these ads are also in Spanish, and so they will be running on statewide television, and they have been actually for a month now. Not only do we have this wonderful multimedia campaign about not missing the signs and reporting abuse, but we also will be working to create, and we have created, working with the Florida Council Against Sexual Violence, to create a curriculum that helps foster families assimilate a severely sexually traumatized child into their family unit. We're very proud to be working on that initiative. We are also working on changing our Safer, Smarter Kids curriculum into a curriculum for children with developmental delays and disabilities. We've grown and expanded Safer, Smarter Kids this year and expanded it to VPK and continued that piece of things, and we will continue our testing, which showed last year that a 77% gain in personal safety and knowledge in kindergartners throughout the state. So we'll be continuing with that, and we're very proud about that. And then we're also working with youth serving organizations to place protective protocols that help those institutions keep their kids safe and keep themselves safe. So we're really very excited about all that we've been able to do here because of the Secretary and your leadership. And we just could not be prouder of the campaign and all that we're doing in the state of Florida to protect our children. And I'm proud to stand with the Secretary and DCF to make that mission move forward. So we also, this is a really big and exciting thing that you saw in that campaign, in that one PSA where we're committing our eyes and our voice to protect our children. We're asking all Floridians across the state to pledge their eyes and their voice to protect our children. On our website, don'tmissthesigns.org, there is a pledge, and we're asking all Floridians to take this pledge. As you said, Secretary, it is our moral obligation, and now it's our legal obligation. So we're asking everyone to sign that pledge, to pledge your eyes and your voice to protect our children. It's the most important thing that we can do in the state of Florida to protect our kids. And so I'd ask you to come on back over, and we could answer any questions that you might have.
Lauren, I was wondering if you could go over some of the signs. I know I've read your material that you had been a victim yourself, and it's not just the physical bruises and things, it's also behavior. Could you maybe give us some clues?
Absolutely, and I think
in front of the microphone.
No, sorry. Absolutely. I think, one of the things here that I'd like to show on this, for example, is school-age children. If a child is missing school, if a child is in school and withdrawn, you saw some of that. If they startle easily, if they were at one point completely potty trained and now have regressed and are wetting the bed, sucking their thumb, show regression in age, those are a lot of signs that something is up and that you need to look into reporting something that you may suspect is going on. And I think the Secretary brought up a really good point when we were working with him on a television show that we'll be rolling out in April. Just because you don't think you have all the information or you may not know, there are other people that may have made reports and connections that DCF can make, and you could speak to that probably better than I. But
that's right, because now with the information technology and the new information systems that we put in place, we can really connect the dots like we never have before. And so one report potentially from someone who doesn't necessarily have the whole story is maybe it's all we need, because we've now potentially received that information from 3 other sources before, and then that could be the one connection point that can in essence allow us to engage in a situation and save a child.
Absolutely. So it's catching those signs, and that's why we're really proud of this campaign, so that Floridians can spot those signs and make that report so that we can make the connections that we have to make to keep our kids safe.
Has anyone been charged with not reporting child abuse since this law has taken effect? And if not, can you go over the penalties as well?
Well, no one has been officially charged for not reporting child abuse. We went through a process where we have now trained all law enforcement organizations across the state in terms of how to report from their perspective and getting that information out. And the penalties, I couldn't tell you exactly what the penalties. Kim, you don't know them off the top of your head. We'll have to get back to you on exact. It was in House Bill 1355 on the obviously you know about the penalties related at the college level, but I'll have to get you the other detail.
How much is this program costing? Where's the money coming from?
It was an appropriation from the state. It was a $1.5 million appropriation. That goes to create the entire campaign, Safer, Smarter Kids, the youth serving organization piece. But the media portion of this is a $262,000 to place everything, the different PSAs, the billboards, and so.
And that's for the creation of the mall.
Correct.
Okay.
Everything. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Secretary, have you had to hire extra PCF workers to handle the campaign?
Yes, we both hired additional workers, about 40 additional hotline workers, as well as you know, in November we implemented a new system that allows us to report information much faster and more accurately. And then we also now have internet capabilities that people can report electronically as well. So we can now handle, we have no problem handling the volume. The volume's already up 16-20% year over year, and that, you know, handling the volume of calls is not the issue at all. We want people to call in if they see these issues.
So there's a web chat feature where folks can send electronically?
Right, it's a true going to an internet and reporting. It's particularly being used by professional reporters who are, you know, very accustomed to knowing what needs to be reported, but it will receive whatever you report.
Of the 16% increase, how much of that do you attribute to this new law?
Oh, that 16% is the new law. It is people, you know, non-caregivers, in essence, reporting potential signs of abuse and neglect. And what most people need to realize, I mean, these are the toughest child abuse reporting laws in the nation. I mean, Florida by far now has the toughest abuse reporting. And so, you know, this is the beginning because, you know, the way you solve any problem is first thing you have to know is how big a problem you have. And so if we truly can get everyone to be reporting what's really happening out there, we really have a chance to significantly reduce abuse in this state.
Along with the increase in reporting, has there been an increase in unfounded reports?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
What kind of, I mean, was it about the same, or are you picking, I'm just wondering if you're picking up more complaints now that turn out to be not legit?
No, not really. I mean, as a percent of the total, that's not true. Of the 400,000 calls we receive a year, about, Kim, help me, 20% or so actually turn into formal investigations. Is that about right?
Of all the calls we've received, 80% are screened in for investigation.
Right, but so many of the calls are also data points. So, you know, it may not be the necessity to do an investigation at that point, but it may be collecting information that may be used to make a decision down the road.
Is there any piece of legislation that you would like to support going through this year regarding anything new?
Did you have anything?
Well, I think that one of the things that we're constantly working on is bringing about education and awareness. 95% of sexual abuse is preventable with education and awareness. And as the Secretary very rightly said, Florida is a crusader in the nation when it comes to protecting their children and when it comes to sexual abuse. So one of the things that the Lawrence Kids Foundation is working towards is creating a standardized education plan that is required in the state of Florida. That has not been done in over 20 years. That's, you know, everybody gets it. We know what they get. It's just as important as reading and writing. Prevention is key. We know that we can prevent these types of crimes from occurring. 1 in 3 girls and 1 in 5 boys will be sexually abused before they're 18. And as I said, 95% of sexual abuse is preventable. And I'd like to add, we spend 0 time before Safer, Smarter Kids came along educating our children in prevention. Pedophiles spend 100% of their time thinking about how they are going to fend against our children. Now, I was never good at math, but I know that's not good math. And we need to do more. It's our duty and our obligation. So that's one thing that we're looking at this year to bring about a more standardized, required curriculum for children in the state of Florida.
And you want the kids to call in too, right, if they're victims that...
Absolutely. It's for young and old. Everyone is a mandatory reporter.
What I mean is, like, if a child or a young adult is being
Assaulted?
Teenagers being, yeah.
Absolutely, they should call the number. I mean, if you are being assaulted, if you are having somebody, touching you and it makes you feel uncomfortable, make the call. There are people who love and care about you out there who want to help you. And I know what it is to be a victim in that position where you feel like you are all alone and no one has your back. And there are people out there that will help you. And I think that it's really important that kids know that they're not alone. And that the Department of Children and Families, Lawrence Kids, are here to make sure that you stay safe. And that's a really important thing too, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Just wanted to ask you a little bit broader about what major initiatives are in the budget for DCF that you've submitted to the governor's office?
Well, obviously, we'll continue on the trail of our transformation initiatives. Last year, not only did we replace our hotline and build that new capability, this year we are in essence completing the journey in implementing a transformation related to our investigators who perform investigations out in the field. And the big change for our investigators is we're putting a process in place for the investigators to not just do an assessment on a potential crime that may have been committed in that situation, but really do family assessments. And through those family assessments, we're going to get better information to do the next big investment, which is really spend more money on prevention. Because we believe that if we can spend more and more money in the front end to keep people out of our system, the state of Florida is going to save millions down the road. So that's a key piece. And then, this program, continuing awareness is so critical. We're going to have more monies in substance abuse treatment initiatives, and so we're pushing that. Last week, you heard us talk about human trafficking. Deborah Poston is here today. We're asking for some additional monies related to human trafficking, and the governor will be announcing the formal budget in the upcoming weeks, and you'll hear more details there.
Do you have any idea yet whether any of your initiatives are going to be in the governor's budget?
He'll be announcing all that.
You did your 1,000-mile walk last year. Do you have any plans to do a walk again this year?
Yes, it was actually 1,500. It was 1,500. We started with 1,000, and we've progressively gone. And the secretary has come out and walked with us in Jacksonville, and his beautiful wife. And so yes, we actually will be walking again this year, 1,500 miles, starting in March.
March 19th.
March 19th, all the way till April 22nd. And we will be doing some really different things this year. A day in the life of a DCF worker. Showing what a parole officer goes through. We will be going to Arcadia and looking at the Jimmy Rice Center. So we're doing a lot of different things this year to help bring about the awareness and help educate Floridians on all of the different things that they need to be aware of. And to go back to your point about other legislation that we're working on, I looked at my counterpart at the Florida Council, Jennifer Dritt. We're also looking at victimless prosecution, which is a big thing. There's in California or Texas? In Texas, which is a big thing because you think about kids who now have to sit in court with the person who has assaulted them for so long. A lot of kids can't do it. So a lot of these offenders just plead down. So that's one of the things too that we're looking at doing as well after the walk.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.